Where's our police officers at that's working this thing? Any more outbursts, remove the people from the meeting. I'm not going to have it. We're going to be respectful in my board meetings.
I mean, you can roll your eyes all you want. This is not an outburst, so this is a public comment. Can't legally be arrested for that. Thank you.
This year's budget is based on the current millage rate of 15.733 mills. The budget has been built based on feedback from each commissioner and include funding to further support the following 3 board identified priorities. After careful review of department budget request submittals and subsequent alignment with the FY26 county priorities and objectives, county leadership is recommending the FY26 general fund and special service district budgets be $287.8 million, which is $28.1 million or 10.8% higher than the FY25 adopted budget of $259.7 million. Shown on this slide is a graphical representation of general fund budget increases. As you can see, as the county has grown in population, thereby causing departmental needs to increase, thereby supporting the annual general fund budget increases shown above. Listed on the slide above are the identified priorities by each district commissioner. As you can see, a common theme amongst just about all of the commissioners and the chair are road improvements, park improvements, and public safety. These priorities were top of mind as county leadership reviewed all of the departmental budget submissions for FY26. The FY26 proposed budget currently includes a recommendation for 78 new positions, 12 of which specifically are support staff for the 5th state court judge. Our recommendation is $27 million lower than the request, primarily due to uncertain financial impacts of U.S. tariff implementation, potential litigation related to impact fees, economic uncertainty, and loss of grant funding due to audit delays. Finally, to recap, we started with our adopted FY25 general fund and special service district budget of $259.7 million. After a majority of the 2024 property tax collections in the November-December timeframe, it was determined that we would have additional revenue collections of approximately $17.7 million, primarily due to the 3 mil increase specifically for fire, police, and parks and rec. The board did not take formal action on the $17.7 million, meaning we did not formally add these dollars to the budget. However, due to prior board commitments, the funds were allocated as such. $7.5 million was used for capital purchases for fire, $6.4 million was set aside in fund balance as a contingency due to the economic uncertainty. $2.9 million was designated for debt service payments, and $900,000 was to cover critical need personnel and operational expenses. So of the $17.7 million, only $3.8 million would have increased the operating budget, which would have taken our budget from $259.7 million to $263.5 million. For FY26, the current recommendation is to add $24.3 million in additional expenses. That then leads to a recommended budget of $287.8 million. Shown here is a list of positions identified as critical need positions that must be funded prior to the adoption of the new budget. This now concludes my presentation for the second public hearing. I'm prepared to take any questions that the board may have.
This is a public hearing. If there's anyone wishing to come and speak.
I just have some questions. How much are we cutting from our budget from our animal rescue, our litter cleanup areas, the homeless population and our children, and how much are we putting towards the legal fees for bad decisions that are made by our government, like the impact fee case that's going to come out of our pocket and the other ones, and then how much we're going to keep paying for security personnel for elected officials? Those areas should be cut first before we cut anything that should matter to this community, because this community is kind of fallen to the wayside. Thank you.
There is not a millage rate increase associated with this. So I think that's just important to make sure that's put out there. And staff, thank y'all. Y'all work with us well, meet with us over several months, and appreciate your time and diligence. And thank you to the departments. I know it's not an easy ask for us to ask you to hold your budgets, and that can be difficult. But thank you to the staff, and thank y'all for getting it together.
And for those departments, and probably all of the departments did not get all of your ask, but thank you for working with what you have to continue to maintain the level of service for our citizens.
I'm just going to speak on all the developments because this is how I feel about everything that's being proposed tonight and lately. We just recently received an F rating for our air quality. We have 27 schools filling. We have issues with our water, as it's been cited in the barge feasibility report, other Henry County water minutes, and there have been multiple fines of the EPD. Plus, we just had 17 people arrested for sex trafficking or participation in the last month in our county. While this is a good concept, continually changing things to mixed-use development and cramming in people in our community when our infrastructure isn't stable isn't a good idea. Who would want to live in a county with failing schools, poor air quality, and water contamination and water usages? Most of us want to sell now. It's sad to see us all want to leave. So with that being said, we're going to become another big issue that Jon Ossoff just cited. Because eventually when these homes don't sell, they're going to become rentals. And we're already cited by Jon Ossoff as already having a high problem with that. So at what point do our leaders want to leave a legacy for our youth? Or do they want to leave a legacy for their developers? I ask that you take in consideration tonight for all developments on the agenda before you approve them on what the impact is and what the legacy that you want to leave. Because the legacy you currently have isn't looking good for our youth. Thank you.
Okay, we're not going to continue to have outbursts. Where's our police officers at that's working this thing? Any more outbursts, remove the people from the meeting. I'm not going to have it. We're going to be respectful in my board meetings.
Again, the previous development, I thought it was great as well. I think this one's decent as well, but we have some infrastructure problems. I do believe this water letter is outdated, and I do believe the previous water letter was outdated by 2 years. If it isn't that one, it's the next development on there. We really do need to fix our infrastructure. Again, we have EPD fines for our water. Have we looked into any of that? How much is the developers putting into our water infrastructure, just out of curiosity? Does anybody know that off the top of their head? Probably not. Okay. I just want you guys to take into consideration what the impact is of our community. It's not so much these developments, it's all the ones you've already improved that are really hitting us hard. We're making the news. We've had issues where we've been flagged for overcharging for impact fees, and we as citizens have to pay that back as taxpayers. And there are decisions that are being made that are impacting the owners of this county as a whole. So, I mean, you can roll your eyes all you want. This is not an outburst, so this is a public comment. Can't legally be arrested for that. Thank you.
I want the county manager, Sherry, to address the comment that was made about taxpayers having to pay back impact fees. Will you address that? Because that is false information. And I'm tired of people putting out false information.
In the month of February, the Board of Commissioners received notification that the impact fees, as determined by a methodology report that was conducted by an outside consultant, were not correct. And as a result, we were remanded by the Superior Court judge at that time to reduce our impact fees back to the amount from, it was a $7,000 amount, back to $1,661.50. The county objects to that. We are vigorously pursuing it through the legal actions, but impact fees are paid by builders or individuals that are seeking building permits for some type of construction, and this is for residential only. As of today, the budget that was presented to you all has not impacted taxpayers at all. The impact fees are not paid by anyone other than anyone seeking to obtain a building permit. The only one that loses at this point is the residents because the impact fee was reduced. And that typically helps us with capital projects like road infrastructure, parks and recreation, but we did not provide to you all or ask the board to pass that loss on to the taxpayers. We are vigorously pursuing this case, and we hope that the county will prevail. And I think it's important that you ask that question because one of the things that the library mentioned was the amount of money that they're not receiving. And because the impact fees were reduced, the allocation that would have gone to the library, to those key services like police, fire, parks and recreation, library, those funds are now reduced. And so I don't know what more information we can put out, but I assure you that the impact fees is not being passed on to our taxpayers. Yes, we do have legal fees, but this board also has a legal fee budget that we will provide to any resident of the county to outline how those expenses are made. There has been no budget amendments made by this board or recommended from our budget team or from my office to add any increased fees to the the county attorney's budget to handle this litigation. And so we will continue to keep you all abreast. And because it is a legal matter, we are limited on, what we can say. And if you'd like, once we are able to share additional information, we can present something formal to this board and for the public that is viewing online and that is here present tonight.
Because I just want to make sure the public understands that impact fees are paid by the developer, by the person that's building the project. It does not come out your tax dollars. You're not taxed on it. So to say that the taxpayers are going to have to pay it back is incorrect, false information.
Again, I'm all about smart growth too. I'm not against every development like you all think, but I want to clear up some misconceptions regarding those impact fees. While we're still waiting for the case settled, eventually it's going to come out of some funding, and that funding eventually does impact your taxpayers. So that's a true statement. I also wanted to correct a statement that was made at a previous meeting about a few weeks ago, that our schools were failing due to special needs or disability students. That's not a true fact. That was something our chair had stated. And again, this water letter is outdated. It's about a year expired along with the others for this development again tonight. So we do have water issues. Hope you take that all to heed. Thank you.